today's session of Junior Achievements Women's Future Leadership Academy. We are so grateful to have you all here today. I'm going to ask those of you who are joining, I'm going to do a little mic check. So if someone could maybe put in the chat box, hello, if you can hear me. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everybody. And again, just a reminder, we begin our sessions with everybody just using the chat room, except for myself and our speakers who are here today. So please feel free to say hello, use that chat room throughout the beginning of the session. We love to hear from you. You can find the little chat feature down at the bottom of your screen, and you'll see there's a drop-down menu there. Be sure to select all attendees, unless, of course, you want to just say something to me. If you want to speak to, get your chat out to everybody, please feel free to just select all attendees when you chat. But go ahead, everybody, take a minute and say hello in that chat room. Introduce yourself. We love to hear who's there. Volunteers, students, everybody, go ahead and say hello in that chat room. We're going to give everybody another second to join on, and then we are going to kick it off. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Once again, we are so thrilled to have yet another fantastic session planned today. And once again, I've been saying it every week, but it still holds true. We have such an amazing group of volunteer mentors and students, high school students, and some college students today who are joining us. And we also have a special guest who is going to be speaking at the beginning of the session. So we'll give everybody another minute to join on. And we are ready to kick it off. Again, please feel free, everybody, to say hello in that chat room for now. Greetings, everybody, and we'll get started. So first, we wanted to say thank you, a huge thanks to our participating sponsors, our sponsoring organizations. It's because of these organizations that we are able to have this wonderful opportunity for students week after week that brings us all together and gets us all inspired and thinking about our futures and building our leadership skills. So we'd like to thank our presenting sponsors, Sanofi, and our sponsors, ADP, AIG, CNBC, Carney Bank, Janssen, New Jersey Resources, State Farm, Structured Finance Association, Allstate, AmeriHealth, AT&T, CDW, Crow, Deloitte, Johnson & Johnson, L'Oreal, M&T Bank, PSE&G, Realogy, Santander, Subaru, Valley Bank, and Lockheed Martin. And boy, that list grows every week. And you know why? Because we are all invested in you, our students, and we are invested in your futures, and we want to help you build your leadership skills. So thank you so much to our organizations who are sponsoring our program. So today's agenda, we've got a great agenda today. Again, this is our welcoming. Please use that chat feature to say hello. We love to use the chat feature at the beginning of the session. Then we are going to move into our guest speaker in a moment, Angela from Sanofi. Then we will move over to the WebEx meeting, and that will allow all of us to use our cameras and microphones and go into those great collaborative breakout sessions that we love. We'll be doing some mock job interviews there with our mentors and our college students, and then we'll come back together at the very end for closing remarks. And just a reminder, students, we'd love for all of you, every single one of you who is joining, to receive your certificate of leadership. It's very easy. All you have to do is participate in 5 or more sessions, live or pre-recorded. Again, we record the beginning of all these so you can access them later if you can't join live. Those also include our Friday sessions with our college intern, Oriana. So if you're jumping on one of those, you can count that as a session as well. Submit a final project to our email address there or to me. Final projects are simple. Just should highlight your key takeaways from the Academy. Best thing you learned, how you've grown as a person, or how the program will help you in the future. It could be whatever you want, a narrative, journal entry, video, PowerPoint. We've had all kinds of submissions. They've all been fantastic. They are not graded. There's no due date. Sometimes it takes us a little while to get the certificates back to you, so we appreciate your patience. But if you want to find out more information, just visit our program website down there, janjacademy.org. Visit there and you'll get all the information about the upcoming sessions, how to submit your final project. There's resources there for you, and links to all of the recorded sessions. So please bookmark that, janjacademy.org. Volunteers, you can also go on there and register for upcoming sessions, or volunteers, if you'd like to share this information with teachers in your community or students in your community, please feel free to do so. All right, so on that note, it gives me great pleasure to announce our guest speaker today. She may seem familiar to some of you because she has been joining us as a mentor throughout the series, I think, and she is phenomenal. So we've asked her to be our featured speaker today. We're so delighted to have her. From Santa Fe, everyone, please welcome Angela Zioli.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I am from Santa Fe, and I was in junior achievement when I was in high school. I was very active, so we come from some common ground. The reason that I think Christy asked me to do this is I've done a lot of interviewing. I'm kind of a serial interviewer. In my lifetime, I've had over 30 jobs, 15 before college, 5 during college, and then 8 after college. So I've done a lot of interviewing, and I've done interviews where I didn't get the job. So you can imagine how many times I sat at the table. In addition, I also have been a hiring manager at several companies, some of the larger companies, and we did a lot of interviewing for different teams. So I've really been on both sides of the table, and I just kind of wanted to share some of the takeaways that I've obtained over the years. Next slide, please, Christy. So here are some key principles for effective interviewing. One thing I would focus on is preparation. Prepare as much as possible. Know the company, know the position, know exactly what you're going for, and have questions for them. They not, at the end of the interview, a lot of times they'll ask you, oh, do you have any questions for me? And you don't want it to be, what's the salary? How much vacation do I get? Ask them about their company, how long they've been there. Have general idea about what the next steps are and how you can advance within the company. So have engaging questions for them. This will also help you establish the rapport with the interviewer. You want it to be conversational and you want them to take an interest, but you want to show an interest in them as well. Go in knowing your strengths. So you really want to showcase what you excel at, things that you've overcome. You want to have concrete examples. You want to, think of certain events that have occurred in the last few years that you think would be a great way to showcase some of the skills and strengths that you have throughout the interview. And be confident. You're great at what you do, and make sure that they see that. You definitely want to be positive. Now, I know this last year has had more than its share of challenges and people have missed out on things, but you don't want to bring that negativity into the interview. Even if you've had a job or you're in a job that you don't like and you're very excited about this job, keep everything positive. You don't want to bring that negativity in. So even if it's something that was challenging, make sure you put a positive spin on it. Something, lessons learned, or although there were challenges, this is how you overcame them. You also want to look and dress professional and neat. And I can't emphasize that enough. Even if it's just a Zoom interview, if you're not getting to go in person, you want to look the part. You want to let them know that you take it very seriously and that you're going to represent yourself and their company the best way that you can. Make eye contact, and of course, no distractions. Make sure the phone's put away. Give them your full attention during the interview, whether it's online, on the phone, or in person. Next slide, please. It all comes down to practice, and role playing. So it's okay to be nervous. The interviewer knows that you're nervous coming in. Even when I interview people, my age, we know what a stressful situation is. So we expect it to be you to be a little bit nervous. So don't worry about that. They're going to anticipate that, and especially with your age, they're going to fully expect it. What you might want to do, though, is even videotape yourself. I did this back when I was in college, where they videotaped us doing a mock interview. And you get to see if there's any little things any habits that you have. So what I found was I had a ring on my finger that I used to spin. So when I was nervous, I would twist the ring on my finger. So all I do is when I go into an interview, I make sure I'm not wearing any rings, just to kind of get rid of that little nervous habit. You want to arrive early, make sure you know where you're going, where to park, how to get into the building. It's only going to make your day worse if you go in and you're already stressed from traffic or trying to find the location. If you have to go at, a few days ahead, just do a drive-by, make sure that you have an idea of where you need to be. That alone will de-stress the situation. You don't want to come in flying late and apologizing. It's just not going to make the right first impression. And as you know, those are the days that things go wrong. So plan accordingly, give yourself plenty of time. You also could apply for jobs that you may not be your dream job, but it'd be a good practice interview. So as many interviews as you can get in, it's all beneficial. It's real life practice. And just because they offer you the job doesn't mean you have to take it. So I've done that throughout my career. I would force myself to go on an interview every year, whether I love my job or not, just to keep up that practice. Because it's nothing worse than going in and having not done an interview for 2 or 3 years and then trying to do it and you're nervous and you're out of practice. It's not going to help you get that job that you want. So again, it's something that I've kept up through the years. And that's part of the reason that I've changed jobs is I just was going in kind of for a practice interview and ended up really liking the job and switching companies. What they're looking for in the interview is to see if you fit into their team. Can you have a good relationship with the other employees? So it's less about the skills that you have and it's more about who you are as a person. They know that they want to find out if you're trainable and then if you can get along with the other people. So that's really the focus. The resume gets you the interview is what helps get the job. My last slide, please. Okay, so some things I picked up along the way that nobody told me, but they were habits that I started to create was I bring extra copies of my resume. So sometimes there's more than one interviewer. Other times they forget their copy. So to have a few extra copies and just show you that you're that prepared always wins points. So I've had to pull them out of my folder and hand them, and they were always relieved that I was able to provide that information for them. I also bring a list of 3 references with the contact information. So again, it doesn't always happen in the interview, but sometimes they'll say, oh, we'd love to contact some references. Rather than having to get back to them, you can have the references right there. And these are people that know that you're interviewing, know what job you're interviewing for, so that when they're called, they're not caught off guard. So you want to be fully prepared and you want your references prepared. They often ask situational questions. So this is a newer way of interviewing the last 10 years when they'll say, tell me a time when. And they're looking for an example. And that's why I said earlier, you want to have concrete examples to share. It's a great technique as an interviewer. I like using it because it gets people kind of telling a story and it's anecdotal. So sometimes people forget that you're in an interview and they sometimes tell you a little more information than they would have rather than, what did you do at your last job? Just remember the whole time that you're on the property, you're interviewing. When you sign in, everyone you meet along the way could be very much a part of that interview process. If they take you out to lunch or they let you go out with some of the staff, all of that, you need to stay on point. That's all part of the interview. So don't let your guard down. Remember to stay professional and focus on the skills that you want to portray to them to get the job. Try not to ramble. It's very easy when we're nervous to talk fast or to talk too much sometimes. Give succinct answers to the questions. And it's okay if they ask for more. Sometimes they'll say, oh, could you tell me more about that situation? Or how did that work out? And then it just keeps it conversational. So give them the answer that they want, but don't get so nervous and just keep filling in the empty space. You could walk into a couple of different situations. Sometimes you're interviewed by multiple people and you kind of want to talk to everyone in the room and make eye contact. Other times you may interview with 3 or 4 people, but as individuals. So don't worry about it. If you walk in and there's 3 people in the room, it's just a conversation and you're prepared for it. Just use your trying to engage with all of them, but don't be thrown off because there's a lot of different scenarios that could come along your way. But the most important thing is engaging with the interviewer. You really want to show interest in them as well. So don't be afraid to ask them about how long they've been at the company, what their experience has been, why do they like working for that company? People like to talk about themselves, so it helps you make it much more personal and it takes some of the focus off of you. And when they're talking, then you don't have to be. So it also takes some of the pressure off. So don't be afraid to engage in them with your own questions and ask them their point of view, because you're there to get more information from them, not just them get information from you. So those are just some little tips and tricks I picked up along the way. I hope that's helpful. And Christy, I'll give it back to you.
All right, Angela, thank you so much for sharing your fabulous experience and advice with all of us. Certainly, I learned something as well. Some great tips. And students, you'll have a chance to, I'm thinking a lot of you probably have questions, but you'll have a chance to ask your questions in a moment when we go into our breakout sessions. But thank you again so much, Angela, for joining us and sharing your experience. We really do appreciate it. So we're going to throw it back here to the students for a moment. Angela talked a lot about talking about your skills in some of those situational interviews. Remember, she mentioned that an interviewer might ask you, tell me about a time. And very often we wonder, especially students, you might think, what kind of skills do I have that I can talk about? I've never had a job before. But guess what? You have a lot of skills that are there, and you've had a lot of experiences. So before we go into this, I'm just going to invite, and I see some great stuff in the chat box too from Kelly from Allstate. Thank you. I'm going to invite our students to go ahead and use that chat box. Select all attendees in the drop-down menu there so we can all read what you're saying. And if you have something that you're proud of, an accomplishment that you're proud of, it could be just a small thing. Maybe you completed an assignment. Maybe you had a really tough assignment that you completed. But go ahead, students, post something that you're proud of, an accomplishment that you've had that you're proud of, either big or small. Maybe you do a good job taking care of your siblings, or maybe you cleaned your whole room over the weekend, right? You try your best in your schoolwork. Excellent. So go ahead and post something that you're proud of, students, in that chat box. And that's going to get us thinking about some of our skills and accomplishments. Oh, some good things there. First place in Horticulture Expo. I love it. Excellent. Go ahead, students. Go ahead and post away there in that chat box. Volunteers, you can do that too. If you've got something that you're proud of, an accomplishment that you're proud of, big or small. Because again, those are the things that we're going to talk about when we do our mock job interviews in a moment. But let's talk about skills. So if you're searching for a job, you might have noticed that many job listings require specific skill sets. That if you're new to the working world, you may have little or no direct job experience. Fortunately, you may well have many other skills from other aspects of your life that can be transferred to the work setting. So we call them transferable skills because they can transfer from your life as a student to your life in a career. So these are called soft skills. So if you've ever heard the term soft skills, these are what those are. Those skills that are part of who you are and that you learn just by your experiences. So we're going to go into a little bit more of what those soft skills are. So I'm going to read these, and again, I'm going to continue to ask our students and mentors too to go ahead and use that chat box. So if you see one of these skills here that I'm going to talk about that you think you are good at, pick one of these three and post in the chat box which one of these do you think you're really good at. So these are some soft skills, and these are skills that employers are looking for. And some of our mentors here that are joining us, if you see a skill here that, yes, you indeed are looking for in your organization, you can go ahead and post that too. So students, we want to hear excellent work ethic. We love it. What are you good at here? Do you see any of these skills that you're good at, students? And mentors, do you see any of these skills here that you are looking for in your entry-level employees? So work ethic, do you have a strong work ethic? Making sure that even when no one is looking over your shoulder, to be sure you're doing the right thing. Excellent. Leadership. Are you good at influencing others or being a leader in a group when it's needed? Coachable. This is a good one. When someone points out a weakness of yours, can you use the information to improve yourself without being negative? All right, moving ahead. Okay. Resourceful. So if you still don't have a solution when facing a challenge, can you find the person who can help you and ask for help? Adaptable. Who's adaptable? I can be flexible when facing change. Certainly we've all been adaptable this year, right? We can cross that off all of our lists, can't we? We have all learned to be adaptable. Time management. Are you one of those people that prioritize and plan your tasks so you can meet deadlines? That's an excellent soft skill to have. I love this chat box blown up. All right, we have three more. Stress management. When under pressure, are you able to stay calm and focused on the task at hand? Sometimes easier said than done, but again, a great skill to have. Positivity. Are you generally one of those people that has a positive attitude and are pleasant to be around? We all want to hire people with positive attitudes. So if you're one of those people, that's definitely a skill that you want to highlight. And then finally, professionalism. Regardless of how your own day is going, you remain polite to those around you, saying please, thank you, and I apologize as necessary. So 9 soft skills, again, that are great skills to have that employers are looking for. So students, if you saw one of these on these lists that you're particularly good at, you want to highlight that in your job interviews. And in a moment, you'll have that chance to practice talking about your skills when we go into breakout rooms and do mock interviews. And I'm going to explain what that's going to look like in a moment. But first, just a reminder of some upcoming sessions that we have. Next week, Tuesday, May 11th, we have Women in STEM focusing on growth mindset. So regardless of what career path you're interested in, if it's STEM or if it's not, this is a great session because we're going to be talking about growth mindset and how that will help you be successful and reach your goals and really be the best person you can be. So please join us next week from 2 to 3 for growth mindset. Then we also have a special session next week, Thursday, May 13th. I saw someone in the chat room inquiring about that. We have a special session hosted by our friends at Johnson & Johnson. It's 15 minutes longer than our usual sessions, and it's held on a Thursday, May 13th. So please feel free to sign up for that if that time works for you. Also, then we go back to our Tuesday sessions, May 18th. We have a special session, Collaboration and Design Thinking, which will be really enjoyable. And our weekly sessions continue through the end of June, and we have all new topics. So if you've joined us before, please continue to join us. Some exciting things we have coming up: conflict management, know your worth, reach your goals, and more. So exciting topics coming up. And you can find all the information again on our website, janjacademy.org. Students, please feel free to share this information with your teachers, with your friends, and all of our mentors who are joining. Please feel free to share this with your colleagues who might want to volunteer, or your teachers or students in your community, or volunteers if you have high school students of your own. Please feel free to invite them to participate. So we are going to move to breakout sessions. So what is that going to look like? Mentors, you will be in a room probably with a couple other mentors and a couple students. We have 100 people joining us right now. So when we break that up, we'll probably have about 10 groups with maybe 8 people in a group or so. We always get a couple folks that drop off. But mentors, you take turns introducing yourself and have everyone in your small group introduce themselves. Mentors, if you want to share something about your job, or if you have something, a job interview tip like Angela shared that you want to share with your students, please feel free to do so. Students, if you have any questions about job interviews, now is your time to ask your questions. And then students, we want you to name a soft skill that you're good at and an accomplishment that you're proud of. So we've thought about that already. But now is your time to share verbally with everybody in your small group. So mentors, start introductions. Students, name a soft skill that you're good at and an accomplishment that you're proud of. And then we're going to have a little mock job interview, okay? So now there's no right or wrong here. There's no right way to do this, no wrong way to do this. We're really just having a conversation, and we're going to practice answering tough questions. So this is how it's going to go. Volunteer mentors, you'll take turns playing the role of the employer, so the person doing the interviewing. Students, think of a job that you'd like to be interviewed for one day. And then mentors, you're going to ask them the job interview question, why should I hire you? And then students, you're going to answer, highlighting your soft skills or an accomplishment in your answer. Okay, so for example, student A, maybe you'd like to be interviewed for a job at a bank. So mentor A, you're going to pretend to be the bank manager and say to student A, why should I hire you? And then student A, you're going to answer that interview question. Well, I'm very organized and pay attention to detail. Last year I served as treasurer of my school club, and we were able to make a profit from our last fundraiser. So this is an example, okay? Again, there's no right or wrong answer, and this is a really great opportunity to practice. So we always encourage, we don't require students to turn their cameras on. Again, our utmost concern is student safety and student privacy. So we do not make you turn your cameras on. However, if you feel comfortable, I highly suggest you turn them on for this session, because a lot of your interviews moving forward may be done virtually, right? So this will be a great experience, students, for you to practice answering those questions in a virtual setting with your cameras on. So again, no pressure, but if you want to practice answering questions with your camera on, please feel free to do so. Turn those cameras on, turn those microphones on, get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and it will be excellent practice for you.